Welcome back to Amoeba Doctor Podcast. Is this all working? Okay, good. It's been a while. When was the last time I did one of these? Like a month and a half? I mean, it's really been a long time. We'll get the sad one out of the way first, because I've had enough. I'm not bringing this up for sympathy. I've just had enough sympathy to last the rest of my life. Let me tell you. We're expecting about a week and a half left on Grandma. I've talked about her a little bit over the last few podcasts. Oh, my eyes are so tired right now. Long story short, we think she's got about a week and a half left. So I'm going down there this weekend to say goodbye. And that's going to be that. So no need to say, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry it's happening to you. Thoughts like I've heard it from a million people, and I'm not gonna miss it if it doesn't come from you. So don't worry about it. So anyway, oh man, what else is new? I keep meaning, fuck it, we might as well do this. Okay, so this is off the cuff. I've been thinking for like a year now, hey, I should do reviews of Let's Go Pikachu and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Scarlet. Because, like, I beat Let's Go Pikachu. Well, no, I beat Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl like a year ago. And I still play it occasionally. And I beat Let's Go Pikachu like 3 months ago. And then I beat Pokemon Scarlet over winter break. So we're gonna like review these games. So that's gonna be this video. We'll start with BDSP, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So the thing you gotta, this isn't true for Let's Go, but for BDSP, I didn't catch the Pokédex, but I took the time to grind through Ramona's Park and get all the legendaries. BDSP is exactly what I expect out of a Pokemon remake. I don't expect anything new or fancy. I think Fire Red and Leaf Green were almost too much. Heart Gold and Soul Silver were like just right because it was basically just a straight remake of the games. And then Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire set expectations too high. You know what I'm saying? BDSP just being basically a port of Diamond and Pearl. Fine with me. I don't really care. I understand it was all buggy for like the first week or 2 weeks or something like that, and people kind of freaked out about that. And I would have preferred to have the GWS at the beginning, Say what you want about developer ethics, but I liked Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. I liked it. It was a good game. It felt kind of... I haven't played the originals. Not planning on it. It felt kind of like Pokemon Emerald, but it's basically exactly what I would have wanted a modern sequel to Generation 3 to be like. It's really it, It's a good game. It's clever. It's not really funny. I don't remember laughing at anything. The story is really not that great either. It's a Pokemon game. You don't expect good story. But it's just good old-fashioned... It's really the last of the old-fashioned Pokemon games. Like Generations 1 through 4 are just kind of show up and save the world or save the region or beat a criminal organization or all three or something like that, right? And that's what BDSP is. And it's just straight... And I understand Platinum had new content, yada, yada. I get that. All right? I'm not saying that's not a thing. But I've never played Platinum. I don't give a shit. I did... I guess really what I enjoyed the most about that game was just that it was like full decks up from 1 through 4, like completely. I don't think you can get Deoxys in that game. It's kind of annoying. But once Legends Arceus came out, then you could like get Arceus through that, and I think except for Deoxys, you can get and Celebi. Can you get Celebi in... I don't think you can. You can't get Celebi in that game either. Those are the two Pokemon that have always been a problem. Deoxys and Celebi. Like they won't just make them available in a game. Like you have to get the special. Can you even get that in Omega? Let me see. Can you get Deoxys in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire? I'm gonna do this on mobile, so it takes a hell of a lot longer. Bulbapedia Deoxys. I really pissed off a guy in the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Discord server just now. It was really funny. I was trolling and he thought I was serious. So there's a Terra type Pikachu that just got announced, and I was like, okay, gonna bring out my Gyarados. Which is like an obvious troll because Gyarados is 4 times a week to electric. But this dumbass is like, this guy must be serious. Biology. What section of game data? There we go. I'm scrolling. And he just like started swearing at me and then left. It was really funny. Learn set. I don't care about his learn set. How do I get him? Okay, so you do get him in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Really? Okay, cool. So it's just Celebi then, that's the problem. Yeah, but you can't... I guess you'd have to take him from Oris to home and then drop him into BDSP. So you can't catch him. Anyway, but I liked how you can get all the legendaries. I thought that was cool. No, yeah, you can't get Deoxys. Anyway... No, it was a good game. You know? It wasn't life changing. Everybody likes the Sinnoh region. I don't really see why. Like, I mean, there's just not much to it, you know? I thought the routes were okay. You know, the towns, I don't really care much for it. But that's a problem with the original, right? That's not a problem with what they did for BDSP. It's not like the Hoenn region, where in the Hoenn region, like, the towns are actually kind of unique. There's, like, Fortree Town, where everything is a tree fort. Like, that's cool. You got Pacifid Log Town. You got the town that's, like, sunken under the sea, and it's in the, what is it called? I think it starts with an S. I don't remember what the town's name is. But it's, like, the last town you go to. You have to go to. Like, those are all really cool. I didn't get that from Diamond and Pearl. There's like the mining town, and then there's the coastal town, and then there's the other coastal town, and then there's the other coastal town. There's the cold town. That's all I remember. I understand it's been like a year, but I also played Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl last Saturday, so it's not like I'm completely not fresh on it. But I did enjoy it, and it was a challenge. The Elite Four was a challenge. It really was, as you would expect. It took me 6 tries to beat Cynthia, but also because I refused to overlevel, so figures. But yeah, it is kind of... I don't remember what my team was. That's right, I ran Jump... Did I run Jump Bluff? I feel like I ran Jump... I'd have to pull it up and see. I do have this problem in Pokemon games where I always end up picking bad Pokemon without realizing it. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this Pokemon for that. But then my team has, like, no synergy. I ended up just storming the gates of hell with Palkia. I gave him, like, Shadow Ball and a Water-type attack. And then, like, Aqua Ring and Leftovers. That was it. And I was like... Who's texting me? Oh, shit, yeah. My poor dad. Grandma's in the hospital and Dad's car craps out on him. I'm just like, dude, man, life just... It's really hard for you right now, let me tell you. So anyway. Yeah. BDSP. Oh, yeah, right, BDSP. Yeah, so I just was like, okay, we'll go with Palkia. And Palkia still kind of... I spammed the hell out of full restores, and I don't mind admitting that at all. So... But I found the plot was kind of like whatever. The characters didn't really give a shit about it. I'm sure I would have cared more if I had played like Legends Arceus beforehand, but I didn't. I'm going to have to buy a cartridge copy of it at some point because I frankly, I refuse to support Nintendo anymore. As I've said, there's only 2 games left that I'm going to buy. and that's Legends Arceus, and or maybe it was just Legends Arceus. What else was there? I'm not planning to get Sword and Shield. I am going to buy the Scarlet DLC if and when that happens, and it will happen. But anyway, yeah, so that's my thoughts on BDSP. It's a good game. Doesn't deserve the criticism it got. If you like Diamond and Pearl, you should like BDSP because it's Diamond and Pearl. But, you know, kind of nicer looking. Oh, yeah, people did complain about the chibi style. No. No, I'm sorry. No. They just look like Generation 3 models, but models, you know? Like, that's it. There's nothing to complain about as far as that goes. It's fine. I wouldn't want every Pokemon game to look like that, but it's nice to have some variety, you know? It feels like, to me, so as I get older, get a little bit of artistic sense, I can see artistically, like as far as the game developers and their artistic sense, I can see what the devs are going for and like what they want and what they envision this world to be. And the players are like, give us more of the same. We want the exact same, but we want it different. Yay! And then the devs are like, I'm gonna like take this. I'm gonna kind of experiment with it. And maybe maybe if I have the time for this, I don't have the time to like bring this old feature back in. You know, and I understand that. I think that's a valid way to do it. Honestly, it doesn't get enough credit. You know, but I think it's a valid way to do it. So, and that's moving on to Let's Go. Let's Go Pikachu is a version I had. Let's Go Pikachu is a great example of that because basically, except for like the addition of Mega Evolution really late into the game, I don't think there's even hold items in that. I mean, it is actually a pretty good remake of Gen 1. I think it's better than Fire Red and Leaf Green. It is. I understand the Sevi Islands are cool and having the Gen 3 Pokemon in it's cool. And I get it, but that's not really... Fire Red and Leaf Green wasn't a remake of Generation 1. It was an update of Generation 1, okay? Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is actually a remake because the battle mechanics are the same. Technically, Dark Steel and Fairy, like, is a thing in that game, but, you know, only as far as the Kanto Pokemon are concerned. Like, I don't... Except for Gyarados, that can learn Crunch, I think. I don't remember any Kanto Pokemon knowing any Dark-type moves. Like, I know that the Magna Trio or whatever, the Magneton line, obviously they were made into Steel types for consistency, and, like, Jigglypuff became a Fairy type, you know, that sort of thing. But otherwise, like, it plays like the original Generation 1 games. One Pokemon versus another Pokemon, unless you're using the partner thing. No hold items, no battle gimmicks, except for Mega Evolution. No, none of that. It's just the way it originally was, right? Learn sets are a bit changed. There's some new moves here. I'm not saying it's exact, but it's pretty damn good. It's a nice little romp through the Kanto region, you know? There's really no post-game to it. I've done all the post-game except for the Master Trainers because I'm not fucking fighting those. Those are two. I'm like 10 levels over-leveled on the Master Trainers on my team, and I still can't beat them. I'm like, fuck that shit. So... But like that, and that makes sense artistically, because I remember some people were mad that there's not more content to this. It's like there's not supposed to be. There's not supposed to be. It's red and blue, but yellow. It's Pokemon Yellow, you know. That's really all there is to it. That was the developer's intention, and I think they did a pretty good job of it. You know. I would have liked, with all Pokemon games, this is really true, I would have liked less animation stiffness, you know? I understand that there's a huge shortage of 3D modelers and animators in the industry right now, has been for like 8 years, but like, it looks crappy. It does look crappy, because this is what happens with every Pokemon. This is true for BDSP, Let's Go, Scarlet, all that. Is like, you know, it's on the grid system, right? And so, like, if I'm an NPC and the player talks to me from this, I go, you know, like, it's just as stupid. Wow, I'm gaining a little weight. No, I'm watching my petite figure. Everyone has a little pouch right there, I hope. Otherwise, I'm a fatty. I need to stop that. No, like, I don't know. It just looked lazy. And it was very abrupt, not natural at all. And you could kind of tell, like, in the cutscenes where they had, they just, like, fade to black instead of actually animating something. I was kind of, not really a fan of that. So, I will say, as far as the catching goes, and this, every single review of Let's Go Pikachu ever says this, and they're all correct. The catching is the worst mechanic that has ever been introduced in any Pokemon game ever, bar none. Bar none. It's terrible. It's literally fucking impossible to learn. I didn't actually, like, I was actually having to, I was going through the game like 5 levels under leveled because I didn't know how to catch anything. And then I watched a video of like Austin John plays, and I saw that he like took out 2 Joy-Cons and he had 2 Pokeballs. And I was like, what the hell? How do you have 2 Pokeballs? And so then I looked it up, and it turns out, oh, you can do like the partner thing. And then he did like that, and that was when it kind of clicked. I was like, oh, okay, you're supposed to do some shit like that. And I was reading online, people like, you can just flick your wrist. You don't have to actually throw it unless you want to roleplay, you fucking weeb. And I was like, well, I don't know how else to do this, so I'm just going to do that. And so that's still how I play this game, because I don't fucking know how to do this. I never use items, because while you're in the item menu, the timer's still ticking. So you can just be in the item menu, because you can only do like 1 player at a time. Be in the item menu to change your ball or change your item or whatever. And then, it just runs. I'm just like, dude, the catch mechanics suck. Like, the catch mechanics in Pokemon Go fucking suck, which is why I don't really play it much anymore. Haven't in several months. I pretty much only play it during the summers now. And even, it's been a couple. I played it last summer, I guess. But anyway, even then, that's why I have the gotcha that just auto catches everything, because I don't want to mess with those mechanics. It's just a stupid part of the game. And then they put it in Let's Go and made it stupider, I do think it's cool, sort of bridge the gap here. I do think it's cool that having Let's Go save data gives you a legitimate Mew. I always really like that. It's my first legit Mew, I'm very happy about that. I've wanted a Mew, like a real Mew, forever, and I used to. So when I was a high schooler, because I first started playing Pokemon in high school, I don't have. That's the thing. I don't have childhood nostalgia for Pokemon because I didn't play it as a child. I played it when I was like 16, 17, you know? So, like, there's no nostalgia here because I didn't play. I guess, no, not even really for the Hoenn region. Kind of for the Hoenn region, but not really. But yeah, so, anyway. But no, what was I going to say? I remember the first Pokemon game that I ever owned was Y on my 3DS. My parents are convinced, for the most ridiculous reasons I've ever heard, that Pokemon is like directly satanic. The satanic panic of the 90s, right? Well, that's still a thing with them. Don't ask me why. I couldn't explain it. Like, it's so easily disprovable that they don't listen to me anyway. It's what did Dave Ramsey call it? I put on your diaper syndrome. Whereas when somebody puts on your diaper, they're never going to listen to you ever again, even like 50 years later. So anyway, or I changed your diaper. That's the word. But so I had to eventually sell that because I got busted because, Doc plays Pokemon. He's going to hell. We have to save his soul and sell his game. But I remember playing Pokemon Y, and I very, very much wanted a legit Mew. And I looked it up on how to get one, and go to Emerald, to the DS games. It was too much of a hassle back then. Now it's way too much of a hassle. It's pretty crazy that it's this much of a pain in the butt to transfer Pokemon to the modern games. So anyway, but yeah, no, that's the huge criticism of Let's Go. It's a correct criticism. I did like some parts of it. I liked the Pikachu and the vents part. I thought that was cool. Felt like that they should have done more of that. You know, like that was cool. I enjoyed that. I actually felt like I was kind of bonding with Pikachu at that point. You know, once home compatibility opens up for Scarlet, I'm gonna take my team. I already have my team from Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl at home, and I'm gonna take my team from Let's Go, and put everybody into Scarlet and Violet that I can at least. I think most of them will go because they're mostly Generation 1 through 4. But anyway, Let's Go is good. I guess I do need to beat 3 Master Trainers so I can fight Red. And then once I fight Red, I'll call it good on that game. So, but it's a good game. If you see it for what it is, which is actually a remake of Gen 1, it's a good game. The complaints about it are not valid, except for the motion control, because God, that's just terrible. Really, the Switch is not the motion control console that Nintendo wants it to be. It's just not. Neither was the Wii U. The Wii did it. Everything else is just not that. So, okay, now the big one, Scarlet and Violet. So I should probably explain how I played Scarlet and Violet. So I had 4 weeks for winter break. Spent the first week and a half with family over Christmas. Got back from Christmas. The day I got back, maybe it was the day after, I went out. I bought a copy of Scarlet, physical cartridge. And then I sat down and I played it. And 3 days later, I got up having beaten the game. I got up to like eat and shower and go to the gym, but otherwise I didn't leave the house for 3 days. Bear in mind, I don't ever do that. I do not binge content. Okay? Ever. Any kind of content. Unless it's, law school content, which isn't really content. That's just learning. I don't binge stuff. Okay? Because I can't even sit still for 2 hours. I have to like get up and do push-ups and stuff. With Scarlet, I did. And I did because Pokemon Scarlet is the best game I've ever played. It's the best game I've ever played. This is before, I guess they already had some bug fixes, but like this is before version 1.2 comes out. No DLC has come out for this game. The Pikachu Terra Raid is going to happen this weekend. All right? Like it's just the best. I have never felt so free in a video game ever. Ever. Not even in games where you're free from the start, like Minecraft. I have never felt so free. Like I was getting nostalgic for the beginning of the game by the time I finished the game, and I was putting like 8 to 10 hours into it every day. I chose Skeledirge as my starter. Worth it. One thing I thought was really cool about the starters, it's a typical fire, grass, water triangle, right? But it's also ghost, dark, fighting triangle. That goes the other way. So you've got your grass and dark type, and you've got your fire and ghost type, and your water and fighting type, right? So the grass is super effective against the water, but the fighting is super effective against the dark type. So they both are super effective against each other, right? The water is super effective against the fighting, right? But the ghost can't be hurt by fighting. So they're not really super effective against each other, but they both can beat each other going right. And then dark and ghost. Yeah, we got... And then... The grass and dark type is weak to fire and super effective against the ghost. Right? And so they're both... So I thought that was... I don't know how Sword and Shield did their starters, or how Sun and Moon have done their starters. I don't know their typing. But I thought that's probably the most clever starter trio I've ever seen. Because it's 2 triangles in one. It's very cool. I love the writing. I still think about the plot of Scarlet every day. That's not an exaggeration or a joke. Like, I still have so many theories. And so many, like, oh my god, what about that? What about that? What about that? About like the paradox Pokemon and stuff. And I hope it gets answered in DLC because God, am I curious. I'm so curious, like you can't imagine. I play this game every day. Like 10 days from when I started playing it, I had 100% of the Pokédex, which I have never done in a Pokemon game ever at all. And there's 400 Pokemon in Scarlet. But I didn't want to put it down. I just didn't, you know? I mean, like, I seriously was like finding excuses. Well, what other post game content can I do? What other post? And it's like, okay, there's not much post game, depending on how you define post game, right? Like post Area Zero still has some story, and then like post story, then is post game, right? Once you the Ace Academy tournament is like the end of the game, we'll say, and after that, there's really not much. And so like I went and I did the in-game trades. Still haven't gone back to fight the trainers because the thing that I always hated about Pokemon games were the trainer battles. It'd feel like I was exploring, but I was exploring it in 30-second chunks because I would fight a thing. Oh, finally, I can explore this route again. And then I'd have to fight another trainer. I'm like, this is the most fucking irritating system I've ever seen. I hate Pokemon games for that reason. I don't hate Pokemon games, but if I did, that would be why. But trainer battles aren't mandatory in this game, which is part of the reason I love it, because it gave me like I could like connect with the landscape. I'm very much an environment type of person. One of the reasons that my Hoenn region is not my favorite anymore, but it was before Paldea, because I love the landscape of Hoenn. I love the Hoenn landscape like you can't imagine. I really do. I've thought about like getting a poster of the Hoenn region and hanging it up in my room. Paldea, although much bigger, much more sparsely populated, I love the Paldea region more. The landscape is just amazing. It's just phenomenal. Yeah, okay, the textures are not great. I don't care. It's so cool. The geometry of the world is so incredibly interesting. You know, there's always all these little like nooks and crannies, all these caves you can discover, and all these weird mountains. And oh, there's the tag tree forest, right? And there's the lake, and there's a cave in the lake. You know, and it's just really really cool. Best region. People complained, the towns don't have enough filling to them. Well, so I liked their themes. Thought the themes were really cool. The themes of the towns, they had themes if you paid attention. You know, the games, people complain, there's no voice acting, there's no level scaling. I don't give a shit about that. I don't give a shit. Level scaling doesn't even make sense. Why would they scale with your level? Like, the game is set up to be played in a certain way because you unlock certain mobility with Koraidon. I got Scarlet, don't judge me. Scarlet's better, by the way. No, it's like you get more mobile with Koraidon as the game progresses, right? So, like, why would it scale with levels when you're going to be mostly fighting the same first gyms and first titans anyway? That doesn't matter. Literally, if they fixed the lag and like the optimization issues, like the frame rate, because it actually hurts my eyes to play this game for long periods of time. Just this game, I can play Smash just fine. I can play TF2 just fine because they're not laggy. I figured out binds and configs and stuff on TF2, so I get like 30 FPS out of it now. But like I get 5 in some places, and that hurts my eyeballs. Not gonna lie. But if they figured out that without sacrificing, I think they said that they were gonna like cut the spawns of Pokemon or something on Scarlet, which I hope they don't do. They figure out another way. But if they optimize this game, it's the perfect game. It is. That's my based opinion. It's very, very based. Very, very based. I love a lot of the new Pokemon. Everyone loves Tinkaton, but I love Tinkaton. Okay, so I went into Scarlet without spoilers, even though I played it like a month and a half later. Okay. First thing I saw in the desert, like starting off, was Tinka Tough. What's the name of the first evolution? Tinkatink. It's Tinkatink. I thought it was a boy. And I was like, it's a boy! He's got a hammer thing! Yeah! "Ah!" And so I caught it and I immediately added. And then I saw he was like Steel Fairy type. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, man. Steel Fairy, you got it. And then I evolved it and I was like, it's a girl! What? But no, I love Tinkaton. It's my favorite. I still use Tinkaton for most raids. Goldango is really cool. I like the raiding system. It's glitchy as hell, and I hope they fix the glitches. But I really like the raids. I think that I never played Sword and Shield. I've heard that they have like similar Dynamax raids or something. But I really liked the raids. I do. I think they're cool. You know, I think there's a lot of interesting strategy, and it's especially smart that they're not like pre-made raids. That you in the 5 and 6 star raids, you can have like up to 70 Pokemon of any Terra type. You know, so there really is no one size fits all for everything, right? I actually thought about starting a companion website to AmoebaDoctor.com for Terra raid builds. I did. I really, really thought about it. But that did not. That didn't seem like a good idea to me at the time. So, anyway. I'd say BDSP, probably an 8 out of 10. Let's Go, 8.5 out of 10. Scarlet, 9.5 out of 10. Only way to improve it, give us DLC, fix the lag. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The transfer only Pokemon. That's fucking cool. That's really cool. You've got 150 Pokemon that you can get in the game. Like, do you realize how pumped I am to take my legendaries from BDSP and bring them into Scarlet? Like, oh my god, I'm over the freaking moon. Yeah, everybody complain, the Dexit, the Dex. I don't give a shit about the Dexit. I don't give a shit about the Dexit. Leave them in home. There'll be a game for them at some point. Like, who cares? You know? It's got Gen 3 Pokemon. That's all. It's good enough, you know? I can use the legendaries that I like. I really don't give a shit about anything after Gen 4. You know? Yeah, I mean, shoot. I think about it. I don't give a shit about anything after Gen 4. Like, Greninja's kind of cool, I guess. Oh, like, that's really it. And most of these games, because of BDSP, well, they threw in most generations 1 through 4. You know, well, all right, good enough for me. As always, I wish there were more Generation 3 Pokemon. I do think that Generation 3 had the best Pokemon designs. But these new ones, these Paldean ones, these are pretty damn good. I really like these. I really, really like these. So, Paldea is my new favorite region. Scarlet, my new favorite game. It's just great. It's unbeatable. I don't know. You can't really beat this. You can only expand on it. And I don't know how they're going to top this in Generation 10. Like, they need to wait like 8 years before a new Pokemon generation. I'm telling you, man, because you just can't. Yeah, you can't beat it. So, that's my review. 10 o'clock. All right, let's crash.